Welcome to Athfix. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the AWS Route 53. What exactly Route 53 and why do we use these all things? First of all, it is a Amazon scalable domain name system web service, reliable and cost-effective way to route end users to internet application. What exactly that does that mean? Previously, we have discussed about the virtual private network. Having a private network inside a public network is termed as a virtual private network, and any request that comes to virtual network, like virtual private network, has a lot of application that DevOps engineer has deployed via different CI/CD pipelines. Now these applications what I am talking about are in virtual private network and to in private subnet. Means we have IP address, and the IP addresses are created but not available publicly. Such IP addresses, part of that IP addresses is termed as a subnet, and that subnet is not available or accessible via the public, so it is termed as a private subnet. And which is in a public subnet, the load balancer. What exactly load balancer does? Whenever some user want to access some application that is available in the private subnet, so load balancer will take that request and it will search for all of the application, and what user need, it will map that application with a user and provide services that are available in the private subnet to the public subnet. This is what load balancer does. Load balancer has very simple task. If you have 10 application, all of them are same, and you are dividing your request, the load balancer will does that. It will just divide your application so that the traffic won't affect your application, the first thing. And it will provide path based routing. Means if you say, see, I came to Amazon, I clicked on this product, I want details of this product. If you go to amazon.com slash book slash the book ID, will get the book details. Means this is called as a path based routing. And there is something called as a domain based routing. In the domain based routing, previously, like if you have amazon.com and previously you attach some other things like if you ever gone through any service providers like wix.com, where if you don't have anything of your own, like if you don't have any domain of your own, you can use their domain and attach your name in the front of that. This is called as a domain based routing. Means they have their own same domain, you are attaching your name onto that particular thing to host your application. Not only wix, if you have ever hosted your application in the github, you will come to know that you are hosting your application onto your repository name .github.com. You can go through it. This is termed as a domain based routing. It is also done by the load balancer. And whitelisting means some particular application are not accessible in particular area, and some application have privilege to access those application. This is termed as a whitelisting. If they don't have access, it is called as blacklisting. This all the things are done by load balancer. So load balancer is always present in a public subnet. It is by default made into a public subnet so that it is not it is accessible everywhere. So any of the user who is coming to your application, when he requests, the request first go to load balancer, and it will divide your application as according to the requirement. So load balancer is doing everything. Your all of the applications are present in private subnet. So what exactly load balancer is doing, as I previously discussed, sir, it does a lot of things. So it does one extra thing. It will just uh, search application via the IP address, and it will just provide that service to you. But the thing is that the user, you whenever you go to any website, you don't type IP address of that particular application. Like you don't add 10.4.4.5 for the google.com. You just add the google.com to route over there. And this is the route 53 or the domain name service. What we are saying, it is the one that is resolving your domain names into the IP addresses. Vice versa is also true. Means if a request come to particular domain name, that domain name is assigned with particular IP address. So this is how it goes. What are the key features of AWS Route 53? DNS management, domain name service, domain name system. As I previously discussed, if you have google.com, it is assigned with some particular IP address and it is resolving that. Okay, it is google.com, this IP is assigned to this particular domain name, so we have to route our application. And domain registration is also possible. There are a lot of service providers like the GoDaddy, Hostinger, and a lot. It also, Route 53 also provide that service where you can register your domain name to onto your name, and you can just use whenever you need that particular thing. Traffic flow, as I already discussed, if your applications are too much, like a clone of applications are too much, and a request is going to only one particular application, this might cause an issue. To resolve this issue, it will divert that traffic flow and health checks and monitoring whether your application is doing good in that particular area. uh, we can just check the health of our application and we monitor it via the route 53. So routing policies also be done with that particular thing. Like we have the latency, we have the failure, we have the geolocation. We can do a lot of things. Geolocation means you can ban particular user for using application, like what happened with Russia. Like a lot of application has banned the Russian users to use their application. Same thing with Iran. A lot of American applications or the European based applications are banned in Iran. They can't use it. So routing is a one that does these all things. And okay, now DNS management with route 53. Hosted zones. See, we have public subnet, we have something called as public subnet. How we make a, normally whenever we create subnet, it is by default private because it is hosted in virtual private network. To make it public, we use internet gateways. We say okay, this particular domain name has to be accessible outside world. We do it with the internet gateway, and the internet gateway make it accessible to public. This is termed as a public hosted zones, that is internet accessible domains. And private hosted zones are within VPC, virtual private network. uh, Resource record types are AA, CNAME, MX, NS, and TXT. So domain name registration, as we know, if there is a unique domain name that you are with, you can able to register that one. As you can have a look into the recent news of the Geo Cinema, I think not Geo Cinema, I think there is one company merged with a Geo, so they wanted a domain name that is with particular developer, and that developer has already purchased that domain name and they wanted it, so they just went to him and he said, I need uh, just I will provide you the domain name, instead you have to provide service to that particular thing. So a lot of things has happened with it. Okay, easy integration with route 53 for DNS configuration, supports both top level and custom domains. So this is all okay. Traffic flow and route policies, simple routing, basic DNS mapping. You say google.com, it will go to an IP address where application is hosted. This is simple routing. Latency based routing. Okay, routes traffic based on lowest latency. Like latency means how much time it will take to load your website. If it is taking 10 seconds, the user won't wait for 10 seconds. It comes to your application. If your application is top notch application, it is something like banking application where user has to wait, he will wait. But if it is a normal website, no one waits for 10 seconds. So your routes will route to that application that has a lowest latency, that is hosted in VPC. Okay, and geolocation routing, routing based on user location. See, there are some application that are designed in such a way that a particular set of people will came to know about this application in different manner. For example, the TikTok, what we have, it is different for Chinese user and rest of the world. And geolocation routing is particularly that thing only. Whenever a Chinese user needs particular content, then this content is served as a content to Chinese government or administration. Like what they want to show, only there those things are shown. And this is termed as a geolocation routing. And failure routing configures primary and secondary endpoint for redundancy. If your one application is not working, you are deployed on 3 clones of same application and your load balancer is routing to those application. Over there, your load balancer is no doubt it is routing to particular IP, but it is done by the Route 53, because when user is trying to access one application, it is not accessible. It routes that particular thing to second application. It does those things, and this is called as a failure routing. And weight routing routes a percentage of traffic to different resource. If 100% of traffic is coming to only one application, then it might cause a issue with that application, and uh, a lot of things might happen. Server may go down and a lot of things. So to avoid those things, it go for weight routing. So this is all about it. So how the things work in Route 53? The simple thing over here is that, first of all, the Route 53 or any DNS services, what they does, they have a particular table or a particular database onto which we have the IP addresses that you want to use. And with that, there is a mapping of particular domain name. So whenever we request anything to the domain name, it search for the IP address where the traffic has to be routed, and it will go according to that. This is what we call as a simple DNS, the domain name system. And if you have to purchase one domain name from any of the provider like the GoDaddy or the Hostinger, and google.com is there, and Google domains are there. Like, you have a lot of applications including Route 53. You have to purchase some domain name, and it is assigned with your particular name provided with a credential, security credential. So when you want to assign some application to it, you will just go to the routes, and Route 53. Over there you mention that this is my domain name, this is the IP address that I want to navigate my location. So what exactly happens over there? First, when user requests a particular domain name, it will go to the load balancer, and Route 53 is also there, and the Route 53 will just locate, okay, this is the domain name, this is the IP address. Oh, I will locate this IP address to this one, and that IP address go to the load balancer, and the load balancer will search for all of the application that has that particular IP address. It will route that traffic to that particular application. So it is very simple. You go to the GoDaddy domain or anything, you purchase a domain name. Yeah, this domain name is registered in the domain name system, and when you request for any application, you assign that IP address to that particular application. Okay, this is my application where I am assigning. So whenever user comes and accesses particular domain name, it goes to Route 53. Route 53 assign a particular IP. That IP goes to load balancer. Load balancer will navigate to all of the application that has particular IP address, and it will provide services as according to it. So this is all of the things, and these databases are termed as a ENS records, and uh, name system records, and so this is all about the DNS and the Route 53, and this is how we go with these all the things. Thank you.